Hello, hi everybody. A very good evening to all of you. So, how are you feeling? Welcome to our lunch actually webinar. So, as always, thank you for taking time out of your Thursday evening to join us here. Okay, so just want to see who is here. So, do say hi in the chat if you're here. Just want to see who are some of the familiar faces who have been joining us. Very frequently, and of course, want to see some of the new faces as well. Okay, I see Hajono, I see Tia Hao, Stephanie. Mina, Palani, William, Felice. Yeah, so many of you who have joined us. Nat. Okay, thank you so much for joining us tonight. So I'm definitely very excited for tonight's topic and the person, like the special speaker that we have invited to join us tonight. Okay, so before I begin, I just want to find out very quickly how everybody is feeling tonight, and of course, which country you are from. So, it's our country roll call again. So let us know in the chat right now, where are you from? Or maybe, you can tell us more specifically. For example, if you're from Malaysia, maybe which part of Malaysia are you from? Yes, I think all of us are like so missing travel, right? So, okay, let us know. Where are you from? I guess, okay, Singapore quite small, but you still can tell us where you're from in Singapore. Okay, so we have Cephas. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Who says he's from Singapore. Krishan say from Selangor, Malaysia. CH from PJ. William from Subang. Wow, all of you guys like sharing all these very specific locations in Malaysia. So some of you might know I'm actually born in Malaysia. So I'm very familiar with all these places that you're mentioning and definitely bringing back a lot of nostalgic memories. Mina is from AMK. I know that Ang Mo Kio in Singapore. Christine is from Indonesia. Hajono from Jakarta. Aida from Jakarta. Wow, okay. And we have Chelsea from Hong Kong as well. Deborah is from Bishan. Kumala is from Tangerang in Indonesia. Wow, we are definitely very well represented tonight from people from all across the region. Do we have anybody from Thailand? If you're from Thailand, do say hi as well. So I think, like some of you might have read in the news that the cases in Thailand has been actually going up recently. So just want to send our, I would say, our best wishes, to all our friends from Thailand as well. Okay, so thanks for saying hi. And also want to know if there are any first time comers, like is this the first time you're here with us at the webinar? I do see some familiar faces just now Deborah was saying hi, and then we're like, oh, hi Deborah, you're back. And Deborah said, you cannot shake me off. We definitely do not want to shake you off. We are very happy that some of you have been here like week after week, and we are so excited to welcome you back. But if you're new, do let us know. So if you're new, maybe you can just say new. Okay, we have William who say new to this webinar. Who else? Kumala who say new as well. Okay, yeah, just say new so we can welcome you. Niwa who's new, Melina new, Jessica new. Wow, so it seems like we do have quite a number of you who are joining us for the first time. And I guess, for the rest of you who didn't say you're new, probably you have joined quite a number of our previous webinars. So of course, like I say, thank you so much for coming back. We are very grateful for you in this community. And I think a lot of our speakers have always said like this is probably one of the most positive and engaged communities that they have ever spoken to. So always looking forward to be here to speak with you guys. Okay, so if you're first time joining us, very warm welcome. So as you can see, our webinar is designed to be very interactive. So, do feel free to just type in the chat box, and then as we go along, I will look at some of your questions, and if I'm able to, definitely I'll bring up your questions throughout, I would say the webinar. But, if you do have very specific questions as well, do feel free to use the Q&A box to ask your questions, and we'll definitely do our best to get back to you. And at the same time, we'll also be having polls. So for example, you can see that we have our first poll coming out right now. So I think we want to hear from you. How do you actually hear about our webinar for tonight? So did you hear about it from our newsletter, or like was it through one of the social media, or maybe you have been referred by your friends? So every session we also encourage our participants, which is you guys, to refer to a friend, if you feel that you have benefited from our webinar. Okay, so let's hear from you. More than half of you have already voted. You have not voted, you can use this opportunity to vote. So I think, as usual, quite a number of you have actually come from our newsletter, and quite a number of you have come from the social media as well. Okay, so of course, like if you have come from our social media or from like referred by a friend, right? Do feel free to sign up for our mailing list so that you will be updated of our next coming webinar. So before we jump right in and welcome our special speaker for tonight, I just want to do a very quick introduction of myself as well as the company, because I believe there are a number of you who are new to us. So as you can see on your screen, my name is Violet, and I guess very easy to remember because I'm also in purple. Anyways, so I'm the chief cupid of Lunch actually, also known as, I guess, I'm also the CEO and co-founder. So started this business about 17 years ago, and the reason why I started the business was because I was then working in a bank and saw that a lot of my colleagues were single and not dating. Though I won't ask you to guess which bank. But anyway, I mean, if you are a banker as well, you can let us know in the chat and let us know whether, banking is still the same, where people are still very busy and working very long hours, because that was exactly how my colleagues were. They were just working really long hours and they didn't really have time to date. So I came across the concept of lunch dating, which I thought was really interesting because 17 years ago, obviously, there are no dating apps. And, I thought that, wow, it's a great concept. Like, why not use your lunch hour to meet someone that you have never met before? And who knows, what might come out of it. So that was actually how I came about this idea, and also started lunch actually 17 years ago with my then boyfriend, now husband. And of course, since then, we have expanded throughout the region. And I think just now when we were doing our country roll call, a lot of you have actually come from, some of these countries or locations that we are in right now. So I would say that one of the things that we are very, very proud of, and some things that we always talk about, is really our matching philosophy. So we believe that when it comes to finding the right person, it's not just about meeting the right person, because I think that's what a lot of people think. And especially sometimes when you just ask your single friends like why they are single, chances are they say, oh, I've not met the right one. But what we have realized is that meeting is really just part of it. It's very important to be the right one as well. So what do we mean by being the right one? So that's really about having the right mindset and the right skill set. And of course, choosing the right one is very important as well, because I'm sure we all have seen some friends who keep committing the same mistake over and over again, and they kind of like just keep ending up choosing the same type of person. And then you're just thinking to yourself, like, why are they doing that? Because like, didn't you already see that that didn't work? So that's why we started lunch actually coaching, and then we also decided to continue with our webinar series, like even after circuit breaker, or like the lockdown situation, because we realized that through these webinars we are really helping to I would say equip our singles out there, which is you guys, with more information and more of this I would say experience sharing, because obviously in the last 17 years our matchmakers, our consultants, like we have come across a lot of different information, and we want to really share it forward with you. So other than our matchmaking services, like I think most of you are very familiar with, where we arrange one-to-one dates for busy working professionals, we also have date coaching as well as image coaching as well. And of course, most recently, middle of last year, we launched our Lunch Actually app, so you can check that out in the app stores. So that's a very quick introduction, like really what we do in a nutshell. So like I mentioned, if you find the webinar useful, do feel free to share it with your friends, because we always say great things, like should be shared. Okay, so later at the end of the webinar, I'll be sharing with you, how you can share your webinar with your friends. And of course, do stay until the end, because as always, we'll always have a special surprise or a special gift for all the participants here. And now, without further ado, I want to welcome our very, very special guest, and I'm sure you can't wait to meet him as well. So everybody, drum roll, please welcome Andie Chen. Please give Andie, like your warmest lunch actually welcome. Please type welcome in the chat right now to welcome Andie. Okay, so
Hi,
we see
guy.
all the welcomes coming in. Hey, hello, hi Andie, how are you?
Hey,
Hey, you
I'm
seem to have
good.
lost weight since the last time we spoke. You have been working out a lot, or like being a full-time dad is like really like taking a lot out of you.
I have been actively, actually, I just got my personal training certificate, so I'm
Oh,
officially a PT
wow.
trainer, and I'm in the midst of taking my nutritionist certification as well. So yeah, I mean, I kind of been playing around and understanding my body composition, food, nutrients, and stuff like that. So with the knowledge, it's a little bit easier to control my weight, because during the circuit breaker, those in Singapore know we had a 1 month lockdown, right? I actually
Yes,
gained
yes.
7 kilograms. I was, yeah, I
Really?
gained 7 kilograms during that period, and then so
Yes,
now I'm
yes.
just trying to get back to a normal body weight.
Wow, I think you like you're looking like 10 years younger or something, seriously.
Oh,
So
thank you.
whatever you are doing, it's like it's definitely working. Okay,
Thank you
so
very much.
I know that, like definitely in the audience we have a lot of Singaporeans, because just now when we were doing the country roll call, a lot of people say that they are from Singapore, or they even tell us they are from Ang Mo Kio, Bedok, Yishun, and everything, right? But we do have quite a lot of international audience here. We have people from Malaysia, from Indonesia, as well as from Hong Kong, like from what I last saw. So I think, for our Singapore audience, obviously you all don't need much introduction. I think you're very familiar with Andie, but of course for our international audience, Andie is actually, like a celebrity. He's an actor, he's a producer, and I think probably the parts that he's most proud of is he's a proud father of two, and of course, like husband to fellow celebrity Kate Pang, which some of you might have met, like in one of our webinars previously. So maybe Andie, you want to do like a quick introduction of yourself to our community here, especially the international community.
Sure. Okay. Hi, guys. My name is Andie Chen. I am a Singaporean, and I'm currently sort of based in Taiwan, separated from my wife and my daughter, who's in Singapore. And I'm currently sort of like a single dad, in a way. I'm taking care of my son here. Um, and thank you, Violet, for introducing me. Yes, I've been an actor for my whole adult career. I've always been interested in film. Now I'm also interested in health, nutrition, wellness, dabbling a little bit in cryptocurrency, in stock market, just trying to basically get my shit together. I think a lot of us are, and I think Violet has. We have done, like, this is the third time we are doing like a talk, right? So she
Yes,
kind of
yes,
know I'm quite a casual and direct person. So
yes.
the fact that she got me here means that I can be who I am now, right? I can just
Yes, yes,
say
yes. Please be
whatever
who you
it
are.
is. So if
Yes,
you,
yes.
I really hope I can, because the first time I'm talking about my love life in my whole career, like, so extensively. So if there's anything I can do to help, I can add value to any one of you here, please ask your questions, and then I'll try my best to answer them as best I can.
Yes, yes. I think really appreciate that, Andy. So I think some of you might have listened in or participated in our webinar with Kate. So I'm just going to put out the poll right now, right? To just
Tally our
find out,
stories, see if it's
yes,
the
yes.
same.
Yeah, so let's launch it now and see how many of like the audience tonight actually have watched it. Yeah, so Kate actually joined us sometime last year, and then that was very interesting. And yeah, I don't know whether Kate shared with you. So it's
A
like
bit.
when I asked if Kate is able to join us, right? Kate said, yeah, definitely. But is it okay if it's in Mandarin? Then I'm like, duh.
Yeah, I'm surprised you managed to do. Did you host the whole thing in Mandarin?
I
Yeah, you should get her on for English version one in a few months, because I actually enrolled her in English lessons, and she has been
Oh,
practicing her English, and she has been improving. So
wow.
I think she would love the practice in a few months' time. She has been doing
Yes,
it for
yes, yes, yes. If
for
if
months
you
already.
guys want to, like hear Kate in English, let us know. Like we'll invite her back and speak in English. So the last one we did with Kate, that was the only Mandarin webinar that I did. But I mean, I really wanted Kate to be on, right? So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, Kate, I'll do my best. So
It's a personal test to you.
yeah, it is. It was really a personal test for me. So it was really awesome. So Kate was actually here, and then she shared on the topic of secret of a happy relationship. And I
Mm.
think, I think why both of you guys get along so well, right? Is I think both of you are just very authentic, very candid, and just kind of like no bars hole kind of people, right? Like you just say it as it is. And I think that was the reason a lot of people really enjoyed it, and a lot of people have learned from it as well. So, and of course, during her sharing, Kate was also like saying, how she met you, like how, some of the how you guys go through your relationship, of course the peaks and the valleys and the ups and downs. I mean, she was really very open and like sharing with everybody, right? Because I think that is also something sometimes people don't see, because people always think like, oh, everything is so rosy on the outside, and they think that there might be something wrong with them, because like everybody else is always just telling their nice stories, right? I think sometimes when we look at IG, like, wow, everything is so beautiful and everything looks great. So that's why very, very excited to have you here tonight, Andie. And like you say, I have been on a couple of so-called talk shows with you so far. And yes, please be yourself. We want to hear like the truth and nothing else but the truth.
Yeah, you say one, don't regret it.
What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Let us know. Do you want like the PC version of Andie, or do you want like who Andie is?
No PC version. I'm sorry. Always struggle with the PC part of it.
Okay, I think everybody wants to hear the wow. Deborah say all the gory details, please. Krishan say truth, please. Kumala say I just want him as he is. Hard truth. Okay. So I mean, of course, we have heard from Kate, how you guys met, right? But we want to hear from you tonight. So how did you guys meet? And of course, I'm sure our singers also want to know from the guys' perspective as well, because one of the questions that we get asked quite a bit by our singers, right, is like, how do you know like this is the right one? I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with. Like they're like, oh, okay, I think maybe, but maybe there's someone better out there. I think sometimes with especially now with dating apps, right? Like that's just, I think people are spoiled for choice, which yes, on one hand is good, but on the other hand, it's also like what they call the paradox of choice lah. Yes, so over to you, Andie. Tell us more. Was it like love at first sight? Like how did you know like Kate was the one for you?
I don't. the truth is just that lah. I feel like I've never really been a huge fan of the like there's only one person for me in the whole wide world. How can that be, right? So what if you don't meet that person, then GG in the end, right? So in my mind, right, I feel like it's a lot more like for me and Kate, it's a lot more about the right person, the right characteristic, and the right time, and also given the right situation. Kate and I, we met as friends, right? And she's not my type. So when I met her, like I just thought like this girl is just, she's not my type, and that's why we became friends, and we had partners. We even had our own partners at that point of time, and like it's just like there's nothing there's nothing. So it was only
so like maybe I mean we just clarify because this is also something that we hear a lot from our clients, especially our matchmakers always hear this, right? After we make the match and then we arrange the date, they meet up, and then we say, oh, so how did it go? And then they'll be like, ayah, she's not my type lah, or he's not my type. So what's the, for you, like what was the type, and like why was she not your type?
Oh, I can't tell. I mean, she was just not the usual. She's not, she's a bit of a tomboy, and then she's a bit pushy, and then she's a bit loud, and then I'm like no lah, like I'm the male chauvinistic side of me always wants the the girl that's very always listen to me, always the 小女人, and it's either that or like I've always thought like I would, because I'm also very torn, I'm very conflicted, right? There's a very Western side of me. I always thought like I might end up with someone like a Caucasian or someone from another country, because often when I'm in Singapore, I always feel like I don't really fit in completely. Like my mindset is a little bit more progressive, a little bit more westernized. So I've never thought, like I never thought I will marry someone she's actually quite traditional in many ways, very very Chinese, very Taiwanese girl, and a part of that also never really occurred to me lah. So yeah, so I'm just as surprised as you.
Okay, so basically it's like on more or less all fronts, she's like really calm, not your type at all.
Sorry, what's that again?
So it's like basically on all fronts, like, like be it
Yeah.
like how her external, like you say, like very
Yeah.
tomboyish, very pushy, very loud, and also like more on the value side, right? Like you say, you feel you are like more westernized, and then probably
Yeah.
you are thinking maybe you end up with someone who is like more liberal, more westernized, and things like that, right?
Yeah.
So basically on all fronts, like she's like just not your type, right? So
Yeah.
and then that's how you say you guys ended up as friends.
Yes. Yes. So we
Yes.
were
Okay.
friends for about a couple of years, and we actually
Mm.
got pretty close because we worked together a few
Mm.
times.
Mm.
And yeah, and because there's no barrier there's no guard, because I don't think
Mm.
there's any mutual romance
Yeah.
there. So like
Mm.
you're not guarded against this person,
Mm.
You're like, hey, do you
Yeah.
want to go do this together? You want to go do that together?
Yeah.
you know and she's fun to be around. And I think we were doing a production overseas, right?
Mm.
And when you're overseas, you spend a lot of time together. So usually when you're friends,
Mm.
you hang out in a group, you
Yes.
work together, and then hi bye, you finish,
Yeah.
you go home. But when you
Yeah.
are overseas and you started doing things, a lot of things together, things like grocery shopping, things like,
Mm.
we go to the gym together, like
Mm.
because we are, it's in that film specifically, we are a couple in
Mm.
that series, but we are not a couple
Okay.
in real life at that time. So whenever there is an off day, it's because
Mm.
like, oh, they are not filming our scenes. So only the two
Mm.
of us are free, right? So we will end up
Yes.
spending a lot of time together. And like
Ah, okay.
the more we spend time together doing all these very mundane things, you realize that like, how come it's so easy?
Mm.
This feeling of ease is something I've never experienced before
Mm.
in my life. I've been
Mm.
through quite a lot of relationships, and
Mm.
it have always been not as easy. There's always a
Mm.
lot of
Mm.
compromise, a lot of a lot of things I need to do, a lot of I need to change this, or I need her to change that, and it was very difficult.
Mm.
And but with her, there was almost nothing of that. It was just
Mm.
very easy. So, and
Mm.
then towards the end of the production, I started to feel like, like, is there something going on here? And then
Mm.
when the production ended, and then we went back
Mm.
to
Mm.
Singapore, and then that period of time where in my life, she's suddenly not in my life anymore, and I'm doing all these things alone again. And I'm feeling like
Mm. Mm.
I'm not as happy, I'm not
Mm.
as, I
Mm.
didn't enjoy my time doing all this mundane stuff um, alone. So I realized that, hey,
Mm.
I think I like her, I like this girl, I like her
Mm.
in my life.
Mm.
So it
Mm.
was more of that. Then I think she probably felt the same. So
Mm.
then we started to hang out even when we were in Singapore. And I think
Mm.
when we voluntarily go and do things together like that, we kind of realized that, hey, I think there is something there. So we developed very naturally, and then we started dating. And then I would say that sense of ease is still what is the primary force we are today. We are very open, very honest with each other, and we don't do anything extravagant, but we just very comfortable, and we appreciate each other in each other's lives. Yeah, I would say that
Mm.
for sure.
Wow, thanks for sharing that. And I think that's quite interesting, right? Because I think sometimes people are like looking for that spark, for that, I don't know, like that that drama, yeah,
a great
it's
word.
like, yes, and I think what you are sharing is something completely different. It's not that. It was more like it's just so easy that it's like, like this person just kind of fit into your life, and
Yeah.
you, like you say, you didn't need to compromise. You don't need to like have this expectation that, oh, this person must change this or I must change that. And maybe it's kind of like just jigsaw puzzles, right? Like you just kind of come together and it just kind of work.
Yeah, I mean, there definitely is a huge part of that, like, and like I said earlier, it's also about the right timing, right? So I actually
Yes.
had a couple of relationships before, and I think
Yes.
like two relationships before kid, I was actually in a relationship where there's a lot of a lot of and I was so into this girl,
Yes,
this
yes.
woman, but
Yeah,
the
yeah.
relationship was just not working, and things were just
Mm,
not right. There was so much compromise, there was so much
mm,
turmoil, there was so much like trying so hard, and like at the end of it, I was just completely exhausted and fatigued, and I was like, you know what, I think I'm done with this whole like dating game. I don't want to
yes,
do this
yes, yes,
anymore. I just like,
yes.
I'm just gonna do my own thing. I'm not even gonna try.
Mm,
Then when she appeared, I think that's when I really recognized like, hey, this sense of ease is actually not something that comes along all the time, you know, and it might be even more important than the whole because the has happened multiple times in my life, you know, and but this sense of ease is actually it's the first time I actually experienced something like that, and yeah, so maybe not look for the all the time. You have to have a bit like, you know, like you have to be attracted to the person,
Yes, yes.
but it shouldn't. I mean, it doesn't have to be a complete infatuation. Doesn't have to be just obsession. You know, like
Yes.
that usually wouldn't last as long, probably.
Yeah, so actually, Andy, I mean, just 2 weeks ago, right? Like we were having this other webinar, and then we talk about this. I would say, triangle about like the different levels of love, right? And then the first level of love is actually biological, which is a lot of how relationships start, and like which is the we talk about lah, right? Yeah, which is
You smell
like
the
the
pheromones, and then it's like your DNA match, and then you're like, wow, I
yes,
need,
yes, yes.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
And then like the second level is like significance. So it's very much like the like having this person in my life, it makes me feel significant. It's a bit like the whole trophy wife, trophy husband, trophy boyfriend, girlfriend sort of thing, right? And then like the highest level, and which is probably the level that we all aspire to have, is meaning. Yeah, which is really like both of you are like sharing your life journey together. Both of you have similar values. Both of you are like really walking along with each other, and just what you have just kind of described, like everything just kind of work together so well, right? So I think most relationships actually would start from biological. Yeah, but of course there are also relationships that kind of start from meaning, and then from there it because there's this Chinese saying, like what is the word, my Chinese very bad. The
What's that?
idea, the something 眼里出西施 is what?
情人眼里出西
Yeah,
施。
情人眼里出西施, right? So in a way, it's like maybe at first the biological attraction wasn't there. So maybe in your case, it's like you were sharing like, okay, she was really not your type, like I did go and search up your type lah, because after Kate talked about it, right? Then I go and search like all your exes and things like that. So
Can find man. Okay, yeah, I got
and
some. I think some online.
quite difficult, but still some are there. So like you say, maybe she's a bit more tomboyish, things like that. But I think subsequently it just kind of like because of that connection that you guys have, right? And then like the physical, biological attraction also grew. Would you say that was what happened?
For sure, for sure. Like, I
Yes,
mean,
yes,
I'm very attracted to my wife. I mean, don't get me wrong,
yes,
you know. So
yes,
after being together and just, I mean, it's love, right? You know, it's like
yes,
you accept her as a part of your life, and
yes,
I mean, it's something. I mean, like, there's always the next, a more beautiful girl, right? If
yes,
that is
yes,
your if that is your yardstick and that is how you are maintaining your relationship, then I'm sorry you're
yes,
in a lot of trouble, because you know,
yes,
like, there's gonna be the next younger, hotter girl for sure, you know. And
yes,
but what makes it? I think what really gives the fundamental is the experiences you have gone through together,
yes,
you know, and all the things you have been through, all the effort you have gone through, all the difficulties, and it is
yes.
difficult. Don't get me wrong, relationships are freaking difficult, and yeah, like all the obstacles and all the things you have done and sacrificed, and all this, it builds up into something that when you are in moment of weakness or argument or conflict, and then you are in thoughts of giving things up, you know, and you take a look at like everything that you have done, and you're like, wow, am I really gonna be able to, you know, like give this up? You know, this is really what I want, you know. And I think
Mm.
that building up of commitment and trust and everything, it's actually what makes a relationship last, I guess. Yeah.
Yep, totally agree.
Mm.
So I think like we have singers, like who's listening in on this, but I think some of them are actually, maybe I think some of them have mentioned like, oh, like this is kind of like the situation I'm in right now, which is what you shared just now, like the person you met, which is Kate in the beginning, like you thought maybe she's not your type, like but I think maybe at this point in your life, right, if you kind of look back, like what were some of the things that you wish you knew, like before? I mean, if there were some things that you could maybe redo, or like you think you could have done better, or like maybe some lessons, that you feel that you could share with our audience tonight, like
Mm.
3 things you wish you have known like before marriage.
Mm, I guess one thing is that I wish I've known myself a bit better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a bit of a late bloomer. I've only really started to, I only started to read when I was 33. I'm 36
Okay.
this year, so that's only 3 years. So
Okay.
I was a stupid boy before that, lah. I guess, So like I really didn't understood myself as very much,
Mm.
and then I guess if you don't even understand yourself, how do you know what you want? What do you want in your
Mm.
life? What do you want as a partner? I
Yeah.
didn't know. So it was very instinctive for me. It
Yeah.
was like, oh, it felt comfortable. So then it
Mm.
was right. And I was
Mm.
lucky in a sense that it was right,
Mm.
um, so for that, I definitely, yes, I wish I understood myself a bit better. Did a
Mm.
lot more self work, like read
Mm.
more,
Mm.
ask myself more questions, a bit more
Mm.
spiritual, so you know yourself better. That's one. Two, I would also have waited a bit longer, I feel.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
in a way, because okay,
Mm.
the reason actually Kate and I we are a bit crazy, like in the sense that we actually didn't want to get married. We just want to have a family together.
Mm.
We
Mm.
just
Okay.
like, because when I got together with her, she was 29. Like when we were
Mm.
started dated for a while, she was 29,
Mm.
and we
Mm.
kind of like, she kind of told me like, oh, if you are serious and everything, and
Mm.
you want to have a family eventually,
Mm. Mm.
then probably like now's a good time lah. We were like just starting in the relationship, and then like because of the age lah, she was worried, and then
Mm.
she always wanted a
Mm.
family and everything, and
Mm.
I'm like, oh, okay lor, sure,
Uh.
why not? So I mean, yes, and I mean, I don't regret that, but
Mm.
looking back, I think if I would have given the relationship even a longer period of time, just
Mm.
to understand truly what I'm getting myself into, because I feel like I'm still married today,
Mm.
um, not because I'm such a great husband, and not
Mm.
because Kate is such a sweet wife, but it was just,
Mm.
there's a huge deal of luck involved, that like, oh, eventually it was still great, because you don't know, like we didn't spend enough time together. We were together for less than a year when we had our
Mm.
kid together. So
Mm.
um, I would have taken a bit more time, to really see if um, like what are her characters, and am I okay with that? Is that great? So
Mm.
understanding myself is one. Understanding
Mm.
her and the relationship objectively, I would guess, is another thing that I would wish I knew, to do
Mm.
more mature to do when
Mm.
I was
Mm.
I mean I was 27 then.
Okay.
So then what else? So other than these two things, one more thing, no lah, I think that's just these two. Just understanding myself, understanding her, and understanding the combination of the two. Just give it a bit more time, to really just see things through, as much as you can. But with that said, I need to put a huge disclaimer here, because
Mm.
life after, I wouldn't say marriage, but life after you have
Mm.
kids is completely different from when you are dating lah. So you can do as much preparation and whatever, but eventually it's that leap of faith. And when you have a family, people will change, you will deal with things differently, and you will never know, because you've never had a kid before, and you have no idea
Mm.
how you will respond, you have no idea how your partner will respond when they have a kid. So in a way, there's also the, like, you just close your eyes and take that leap. If you just know that that person is a good person, one, he or she, you have no question in your mind, he or she is a good human being. That I think I
Mm.
knew very clearly when I
Mm.
decided to have a family with Kate. I knew she was a
Mm.
good person. She has one of the best hearts that I ever met in my life. So that was
Mm.
one. Two is, what was I saying? So one is understanding that she's a good person. Two is that you share the same values.
Mm.
So once you have the same values, you understand her goal and your goal, and it's something that you can work towards together. Like you can be the best couples, but if the things you want are in completely different spectrums, it's gonna be a very difficult journey to take together,
Yep.
objectively. So I think that's the two things I would be a lot more focused on. Yeah.
Mm. I think like thank you again. I think just being very candid about it lah. So I think maybe just to follow up on some of the things you have shared, right? So you say that you have started to read 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So maybe you want to share with our participants tonight, like maybe are there certain books that really have been mind blowing for you, that really have helped you in this like self discovery journey?
I mean, I think it's a combination of my life experiences as well
Mm-hmm.
as the books, lah.
Mm.
I highly recommend start listening to podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, Joe Rogan's the most popular podcast. He has a lot of
Mm-hmm.
alternative mindsets.
Mm-hmm.
Go look at something from Tim Ferriss is a great podcaster
Mm-hmm.
as well. Russell Brand is someone I listen to a lot
Mm-hmm.
nowadays. He works towards more of a spiritual side of things,
Mm-hmm.
but also intellectual at the same time. Books wise, I think Seven Habits of Highly Effective People
Mm-hmm.
really gave me a primary building block of like who I want to be as a
Mm-hmm.
person.
Yeah.
Um, if you are more spiritual, I would say The Alchemist is
Mm-hmm.
by Paulo Coelho. It's
Mm-hmm.
a ridiculously great philosophical book that you would feel as much as you understand.
Mm-hmm.
And then recently, I've read this book called Letting Go by
Mm-hmm.
David E. Hawkins.
Mm-hmm.
Hawkins. It's about it's like as scientific as you can get about emotions, negative, positive, how you can let go of it, and the effects it has on you, and how you can actually through meditation or through the letting go technique release these negative energies and move up the spectrum of energy from negative to positive. I mean, it sounds a bit woo woo here, but actually the book goes
Mm-hmm.
into as scientific as you can get, because he's a doctor, a PhD, and he has done a lot of experiments. So it's as scientific as possible. So these books, I feel, and listening to these people really made me understand the world and understand my place in the world. And with that, I'm a lot clearer about like what I want, what I expect, what I'm asking for from my partner. Is it logical? Is it illogical? Does it stem from some insecurity, or does it stem from something that is more objective and something that is value ethic driven? So I feel like yeah, like these 3 years has been amazing. Like just having all these resources has really helped me recognize myself so much more than I've ever had in the 33 years I had before I started this self-discovery journey, for sure.
Wow. Okay. I
Yeah,
think what you have brought up is so important because I think a lot of times we forget that self-work is probably one of the most important thing
yeah,
that we need to work on because I think a lot of times like it's very easy to just kind of blame it on the other person.
yeah,
I
it's
mean,
very
be it
easy.
like our spouse or be it our boss or be it our kids. I don't know. It's just so much easier to kind of point at someone else, right? But
Yep.
I think what you have said, it's like I think I so resonate with that. It's like based on all the books that you have read and based on the podcasts you have listened to, like really having that awareness that when I'm asking this of someone, is it really from a place of insecurity or is this something that is actually fair to all parties concerned, right? I think that
Mm.
is just wow, it's just something that you need to be at that level to even have that kind of awareness. So I'm so happy for you. Like I think it's something that we really all need to work on. And I think if we all work on that and like everybody start thinking that way, I think we probably would be able to reduce a lot of conflicts, like
Yeah.
misunderstanding, yeah,
I feel a
miscommunication.
lot when it comes to relationship, and a lot of reasons why I had so much turmoil with my past relationships was that like there was just a lot of insecurities, and
Mm,
we are humans, and we are
yep.
more likely than not we are brought up by a dysfunctional family.
Yes.
More often than
Yes.
not, our upbringing is flawed. Our parents are flawed,
Yes.
and those flaws
Yes.
are passed on to us. And it's been
Yes.
with us since we were a baby that we don't even question
Yes.
them anymore. And I realized that 90% of like arguments are actually all caused by these insecurities, and a lot of times it has to do with you overcoming it yourself and you
Yep.
understanding that your partner has these insecurities. And once you see that these insecurities stems from their past, be it their
Yep.
parents, their experience, and not from you, you are
Yep.
not so upset about it, and you are like,
Yes.
hey, I can accept you even if it's unreasonable, even if it's not fair for me, but I
Yep.
see where it stems from. And you
Yep.
when you empathize and you hurt for your partner because you love her, right? You want him or her to be happy, and you see when they are in pain, when they are hurt,
Yep.
you want to step up, you want to rise up and be there for them. And that's why that awareness and that ability to see their flaws, see their weaknesses, and see your own weaknesses, I think is gonna be so helpful when it comes to maintaining a relationship.
Wow, Andy, I'm serious. When you're talking, I'm starting to get goosebumps really. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's so amazing what we are hearing tonight. And I think, a lot of our participants, they are also like, wow. So maybe, like you guys want to share like what is your biggest takeaway so far? I usually ask this at the end, right? But I think we have just heard so many nuggets, like great nuggets from Andy tonight. So let us know, like what is the one thing that have really wowed you, like you really think like is really amazing. Okay, so at this juncture, I mean, sorry guys, I've not been looking at the chat for a while because I've just been so wowed by what Andy has been sharing with us, right? So I think there's a question here. Jessica is asking, can Andy share some self-care routines? Because apparently your skin looks really good. Yeah, I agree.
Just
So
good
maybe you
lighting.
want to.
I don't have the perfect skin. I actually have a lot of acne. I had more acne than skin when I was young because I have autoimmune disorder. But like I said, I've been trying to heal myself through my gut, my health, my sleep routines, my meditation for 7 years now. And I think Kate was actually, I have to give her a lot of credit because she is the one that really helped me along in the initial part of my return to health. I was so sickly, and so she was there for me and really taking care of me when I was not at my best lah. So I think that also helped a lot. Like just being there when the fact that I had nothing when we were together, like I had no health, I had no money, I had no career, I had nothing, and she was there for me. So like I felt you just feel so much when you had that journey together. I think that means a lot as well.
Thank you, Andy, for that. So, I think some of the things that we want to talk about as well, right? I think towards your last point, you say that life after kids is completely different, and I think like definitely, I agree. Like you can never prepare for it, right? Because it's like, I mean, nobody have had kids until they have kids, right? And of course, like the person whom you have met at first, like both of you are single, both of you are like just happy-go-lucky, like you have no idea how this person would be like when they start having kids. And I agree with you. I mean, I have this friend of mine, like I think he never knew that the then girlfriend, then subsequently wife, it's like have this OCD. It's so amazing. It's like he started telling me, he's like, every night I go home, what we end up doing every night? Every night they will be like cleaning the toys because the wife is really like very worried that the toys will be contaminated and things like that. So it's just something that he never knew. So you're right, like it's just
but
something.
she was not OCD before.
Yeah, she
with
wasn't.
herself, she's not OCD. You only see like the kid.
Yeah. So it was quite interesting. It's like then I mean, of course, as you say, right? I mean, that friend of mine, he's really a classic of what you have just said, like, which is also one of the highlights that one of our participants have here, right? Which is I like having her in my life. So I think having when they start having kids, there are a lot of different things that surface that he never knew, but because he really love her, and then like really love having her in his life, right? And then it just worked lah. I think it was great, like how it was challenging at first, honestly, but eventually they worked through it. And I think he's very glad that he worked through it, and like you say, like didn't just kind of like throw in the towel and kind of say that, okay, I give up, right? So I think on that note, definitely one of the questions that we also want to talk about tonight is now that you are like a single dad in that sense, and of course you're also like having a career as well. And in fact, like we almost like couldn't have you here tonight because you're in the midst of production, right? But like thank God, like just nice, then it all worked out. So how do you kind of like balance all the different parts of your life, or how do you make sure that you still have time for yourself, like time to develop your career, time with Kate as well, like after the kids have come along?
The short answer is that you can't lah. you can't. You can't lah. There's no balance lah. It's very scary because every time a balance means that there is a system, and you found a comfortable way of proceeding, right? So then it's a balance, right? But you can't balance yourself because every time you think you find a balance, the kids grow to another age, right? And then they have a whole new set of things that you need to take care of, and it's completely different from the last 2 years or 1 year, so you spend like a year building the whole system, like, oh, I'm comfortable. You sit there for 3 months, like, I got this shit, man. I'm a great dad, I'm a great husband, everything's gonna be fine. And then like, hey, So like suddenly your kid is like going through a rebellious phase, or like suddenly the
Yes.
kid is primary school now, and then there's like
Yeah.
schoolwork, and there's like you know, so and then like for me, like career wise, I decided that I'm gonna try and set up a new market in Taiwan and then uproot the
Yes.
whole.
Yes.
It's impossible, and I think you need to venture into this understanding that like your life is never going to be so much in your control anymore. There's a certain amount of
Mm-hmm.
letting go.
Yeah.
There's a certain amount of letting go for sure.
Yeah.
And that's okay, And
Mm.
I think I'm still struggling with it up to today,
Yeah.
because I'm very career minded, very ambitious. I
Mm-hmm.
want a lot and very self centered in a way that
Mm-hmm.
I want a lot for myself, and I
Mm.
want so much surplus that I can use that surplus to take care of my wife and my family. And then I want even more surplus of that so I can take care of the people around me. And then I
Yeah.
want even more surplus so that I can help the society and the world and everything. So like the layers of surplus I need to achieve is so much. I have so much pressure on myself that like I had such a hard time. Um, I feel like balancing trying to be a good husband, a good father, and to fulfill whatever purpose that I feel I'm placed in this earth to do. So it's a struggle, honestly. Even up to today, I find it such a struggle. And I'll be lying if I say I got everything down, But there are some lessons that I've learned.
Mm-hmm.
One is that like by pure necessity, you will learn how to up your intensity when you're working, right? So like last time when you have like, for example, a certain amount of like a script read, starting a script might take me 3 days, for example,
Yeah.
and now I will do it in 6 hours.
Mm.
Because
Wow, that's
the
amazing.
intensity is so much, and the amount of
Yeah.
time I spent researching systems of productivity and efficiency has skyrocketed. And I feel that I am a lot more productive and efficient I am today than I was before Aiden and Avery. So in a
Mm.
way, I've learned so much, right? So I feel like I'm getting more done. But
Yeah.
and then can you imagine when they are grown up and I have all the time in the world? I'll be so crazy productive because I've learned so much. I read so many books, and
Yeah.
really created this system of like, using different softwares, like outsourcing, using just all the techniques. So I think like learning that whole set of efficiency and productivity will be one way to make sure that
Mm-hmm.
you can get all the things you want to do, not all, some
Mm-hmm.
of the things you want to do while
Yes.
being a father, and also I think that's for the work side. And then I think for the
Mm.
being a husband and
Mm-hmm.
and a father, I also struggled for many years. One of the tricks that I learned is that I actually wrote down the characteristics of a father and a
Mm.
husband that I want to be, right?
Mm.
Because like you can't be everything. I tried to be everything, I tried to
Mm.
be the father that loves and take care of all the nitty gritty, that spend all the time, present, love, caring, discipline. I just want to be everything, and I realized that it's impossible. I don't have the time, and when I spend so much time on them, I don't do the things I want to do. I start to resent them,
Yes.
and that's
Yes.
not healthy, right? So
Mm.
I realized that you need to be very specific about what kind of father you want to be, or what kind of mother you want to be. And if you hit those
Mm.
goals, you can pat yourself on the shoulder and say, I've done my job. I can live with myself. I can close my eyes and go to heaven, and I'll be okay. I can say that
Mm-hmm.
I am a good father. I'm a good mother. So you set
Mm.
like maybe 2 or 3 words. Like for me, it's a father that is loving, nurturing, and
Mm-hmm.
demanding, right? So these are
Mm.
the 3 things that I want to hit. That
Mm.
means that sometimes I don't want to be there for all the nitty gritty stuff. And
Mm.
my wife might not like that, but I've
Mm.
said that for myself. So like
Mm-hmm.
I will be nurturing. If there's things that they need to learn, if there are things
Mm.
that I can give them value, then I will be there and I will do that with them. That's
Yep.
important to me, right? So
Yep.
as a husband, it's the same. What kind of husband do
Mm-hmm.
you want to be, right? Set
Mm-hmm.
that 1, 2 words and then try and live by that. You can change those as you progress, but
Yep.
if you have like 1, 2 pillars to really guide you, you actually feel like, oh, I'm okay giving this up. I'm okay not being
Mm-hmm.
there for this thing because
Mm-hmm.
it is not in line with these values that I want to be, the kind of father or the kind of husband that I want to be. So that is another tool that really helped me kind of just find my footing in this whole family thing.
Wow, I
You
think
know?
again that's really smart. Like that makes a lot of sense, right? Because I mean, same thing like at work, like we have KPIs, so to say, right? And I think the challenge with like our personal life a lot of times is that we don't have KPI. So as a result, like we are always feeling that we are failing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we don't even know like what are we trying to achieve or attain, and then like what you say, like we are keep getting bombarded by the media, by like our friends
Yeah.
IG about all these amazing things that
Yeah.
they are doing, and then we always feel that we are not enough, we are not good enough. But to start off with, we don't even know like what are we trying to achieve.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
so I think like what you have just said, like just setting for yourself very clearly, like okay, I'm not going to be able to be everything, like I might not be like the type of father that like my friend is to their kids, or like my father
Exactly.
was to me, but this is the type of father I want to be. These are the two or three things that I will be as a husband, and yeah, that's it, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like super awesome. Thank you for that. And like suddenly when I look at the time, I'm like, oh my goodness, there's only 10 more minutes. So I think right now, I think I will just go on to the Q&A very quickly. So
Oh, can
we
I can
have
I can I add something, right? Because I
yes,
saw
yes, please
Christina
do.
putting on the list of
Yes,
the
yes,
names
yes.
and the podcast, right?
Yes,
Okay, so
yes.
I also listened. I feel like this might be helpful. Jordan Peterson is also a great resource, I feel, especially for men.
Mm-hmm.
Some people might find him a bit too right wing politically, but I
Mm-hmm.
personally feel like he explains very clearly what it means to be a man, what it means to
Mm,
be how do you build yourself up, what is important for you. And I feel like he has a lot of values that helps. He has a lot of content out there, but he also talks about relationships and like male female chemistry and what's important and stuff like that. So that might be a good resource for you guys as well.
nice, nice. Thanks,
Yeah.
Andy, for that. And I'm sure Chris will find it at some point and then put it up there for all our listeners as well. Okay, so very quickly, just want to go to the questions. So, Andy, I think we probably have to do like quite a concise, like replying,
No
because we
problem.
do have a number of questions here.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
so first off, quick one. What are the qualities that you love most about your wife?
Um, the most I love about her is that she's just she has the best heart lah, really. Like she means the best, and she doesn't compromise when it comes to that. Like for me, sometimes I waver. I try and do the right thing, but sometimes if the reward is too high, I get like 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 can I maybe just this time just like that? But she doesn't waver. It doesn't matter what
Yeah.
kind of reward she's gonna get. She's not half as calculative as I am. Like she feels like if I can help, if I can offer my help in some way, make someone's day, then yeah, I'll do it. And that value is actually what really attracted me. I realized, um,
Mm-hmm.
for her, for me, and I'm brought up in an environment whereby like it's like the you win or you lose, right?
Mm.
Like, but
Yep.
for her, like through her, I saw like, oh, we can all win, and
Mm.
even if I lose a bit and they win, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It will come back and it will be a good thing. And even if it doesn't come back, it's still good for you. I just keep seeing that occur again. Like initially when I was with her, I couldn't understand like why she made that decision with me. I was like, that is so not objective and so not calculated and so
Yeah.
not a good choice. But in the long run, I realized, hey, she's the smarter person. Huh? I'm the dumb one. She's the smart one. So I see a lot of goodness in her heart, and she
Yep.
still has it today. And goodness in a very strong and unwavering way that I think I
Mm.
respect that despite all her flaws. And she'll tell you that I will tell you, she will tell you that I have a lot of flaws as well. But despite everything, like that is one thing that it still makes me respect her a lot, a lot. Yeah.
Thank you, Andy, for that. Another question. So we talk about insecurities just now, right?
Mm.
So someone asked here how to deal with insecurities and helping your partner deal with their insecurities. What has worked for you?
You can't help your partner deal with insecurity. It's a personal journey. You can, if you spot it and you have a right time for it, you can suggest to them, like you notice something. Could it be that you have some issue that you might want to deal with? You can tell them what you see, but be very careful when and how you do it. But working on yourself, I feel it's the only way to go, because when you work on yourself, your partner will see it, and they will see that they also need to up their game, right? So I
Mm.
think that is something that is important as well. So like, how do you work in the insecurities? It's basically, one is through an intellectual way, like reading and understanding more, like do silly things like Myers-Briggs personality tests, read books and try and think about like who you are and why you are like that, and constantly thinking, and that will eventually lead you somewhere, right? The second one is through meditation. And when I say meditation, it's not just sitting there. That is great. I mean, don't get me wrong, that is great. But you can start by like taking long walks, taking like a
Mm.
45-minute, half an hour walk. And that walk, don't listen to music, don't do anything, just walk, and your mind will actually go to the places, and you would realize, you will find things, or you can write. Like for me, my meditation started with a writing meditation, where I write a stream of thought journal every morning. I write for 3 pages. I don't stop. I don't curate what I write. Whatever's in my mind, I write it down. And when you keep doing this day after day, you will realize that the same things will keep popping up. You realize it's the same things that is causing you anxiety. You're having the same nightmares. Why? And when you keep seeing it objectively in front of you, because you wrote it down, you will, one, either be very aware of it because you see it. Two, you realize that like you have to do something about it, because the problem, you can see it now instead of just rotating in your head subconsciously. So I think these two ways are the two ways that I have found that you can actually work on yourself and your insecurities. Of course, this is a never-ending job, because our parents are screwed up and the world is screwed up. So it's a never-ending journey, but you can get to a place whereby you are a lot more happy and free than you are now, for sure.
Yeah, I think those are very practical ways because I think a lot of times when people think of meditation, like you say, people think of like sit there, try to empty your thoughts, and then people are like, okay, where is this bringing us, right? So I think those two very practical ones, which is like long walks and also journaling. So definitely something that, you guys can try out. I think this is a very good question, and actually something that I wanted to ask just now as well. So how did you and Kate manage your long distance relationship? Because I believe there have been different, points in your relationship that you are having long distance, including like currently.
Like I said, it's very different. I remember we have had quite a number of long relationship periods. Initially, we were very close. We will call each other every day, and then like um, like once we get good internet, and then we will just on our Skype, or whatever software, and we're on it like the other person's in the room. So whenever we are at home, we're just on it, even though we are like maybe cooking, doing our own work, or even when we are sleeping, we just on it so that we are accompanying each other.
Yeah.
That's one way we coped. I think by with kids now, it's just so much harder, because like a lot of our attention, it's on the kids, right? So
Yeah.
we need to, like, I can't be online for her, because I need to take care of my kid, right? Like he had his exam yesterday, and am I going to talk to my wife, or um, am I going to really sit down and help my kid with his traditional Chinese examination? It's like of course you're gonna sacrifice your spouse. There's just no
Yeah,
question
yeah,
about it, because they are an adult and they should be able to
yeah,
take care of themselves. So
yeah,
I guess they are, and I'll be lying if I say like this period hasn't been testing for us
yeah,
as a couple. It is testing.
yeah,
We have had
yeah,
fights, because
yeah,
it's so hard. It's a very hard period with COVID, with the separation, with the
yeah,
just not knowing what's happening, with our income being completely affected, with the family being
yes,
apart, not knowing what's going to happen 3 months down the road. It's a
yeah,
horrible way of living. I mean,
yeah,
relatively compared to some of us, like they are lucky, or
yes,
but
yes,
um so it's hard. But I think that's when you remind yourself that your love is not fragile.
yeah,
Your relationship is strong, and we
yeah,
have built so much together for so long. um and when you have very bad moments, you kind of take a breather, um, let it pass, understand, not let it pass as in hide it in your heart, but digest that feeling, understand it, and then just, like in the grand scheme of things, it's not a big deal. If you take what we have built together as a couple, as a family. And then if you just look at the challenge right now, just look at the conflict and the bad emotions and negativity is like so big, like, oh, I can't take it anymore, I'll just divorce, I'll break up. But then when you put that and then you put it beside what you have built together and what you have gone through together and what you want to do in the future together, it's like that, right? So like in the grand scheme of things, it becomes, when you're calm, it becomes a lot easier to understand and stomach, and then to work things through from there. Yeah.
Totally agree with you there, Andy.
Yeah. But it's
So
too hard. Too hard.
we have, like coming to almost the end of tonight's webinar. So just very quickly, like Andy, it's like if they would like to follow you, like where should they go to? Should they go to your IG, your Facebook? Like where can they go to get to know you better?
You can follow me on IG, on Facebook. My tag is ANDIECHEN, Andie Chen. So if you type that, you probably will be able to find me.
Awesome. So, and of course, as always, we have prepared something special for you. And I think it's very apt, especially after what Andy has shared with us tonight. So we are going to give away an ebook, 8 Signs of a Healthy Relationship. So, definitely Andy has shared a lot with us about, what are, the ways to keep a healthy relationship. And I think I really appreciate how candid Andy has been, like he doesn't sugarcoat things, he's just been really honest and authentic with us, like telling us that, it's not easy. There are going to be times that, you really want to tear your hair out. But I think I really like what he has said, which is at the end of the day, in the grand scheme of things, like honestly, what you're going through right now, like, is it such a big deal? And I think that's definitely one of the best ways to look at things, not just with maybe, romantic relationships, but just in any relationship in general. I think once we kind of, make that comparison, then we just realize, yeah, it's okay. It's okay to let go. It's okay to just take a step back, like what Andy has said, just digest the feelings and just focus on what really matters, right? Which is really this beautiful relationship that we have built, as a family, as a couple. So thank you so much, Andy, for being here tonight. I don't want to take up any more of your time because I know you need to look after your son, and I really want to thank you for being here with us and sharing all these, great tips. I mean, honestly, I have learned so much from the deep learning that you have acquired from your 3 years of reading and listening to podcasts. Can you imagine, Andy, if you have started 25 years ago?
Just kidding. I was dyslexic. I was dyslexic. So that journey, when I found audiobooks and podcasts, it was a life changer. So find your own way you learn, for sure.
It's true. It makes so much sense. So I mean, I wish you all the best. I wish you and Kate, lots and lots of happiness. I hope to catch up with you guys when this whole COVID thing is over, and then we can finally meet face to face again. So take care, and once again, guys, do follow Andy on IG. So as he mentioned, it's just his name, Andie Chen. And good night, and hope to see all of you again soon. I'll just stay on a bit more, but Andy, please feel free to go and look after your boy.
All right.
And
thank
everybody,
you, guys.
please say thank you in the chat
to
Andy.
Take care.
You, Andy. Okay.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.